We have had extremophiles ever since nature challenged us to survive the harsh conditions that Earth presents us with. No matter the condition, life has proven time and time again that it can come back to thrive in whatever temperatures, locations, or atmospheres anyone could dream of. In the Atacama, the extremophiles are types of xerophiles, organisms that thrive without much water. Imagine drinking less than a cup of water every day for the rest of your life. This is roughly the amount of water that camels drink. Xerophiles drink much less. And because water is so important to us and life as we know it, these organisms are still quite puzzling to the scientific community today. For example, consider the saguaro cactus. It's the largest cactus in the USA, weighing in at over 3,000 pounds, and yet it still intakes less than a camel. How does a xerophile work? There are key differences between normal life and xerophiles. There have to be in order for them to survive with so little water. One method xerophiles use to amplify the effect of water is tipping the equilibrium that osmosis brings. This forces the organism to reuse the same water to refuel itself over and over. Another way that they conserve water is by adapting a gluttonous lifestyle, taking all the water all at once. Then they digest the water as slowly as they possibly can without dehydrating. This psychologically helps the xerophiles to feel fuller. Now, except for being dry and hot, the Atacama Desert is relatively calm in other areas, namely salination and air pressure. This means that apart from having to conserve water, these xerophiles aren't doing anything else special. So how does the geology of the desert affect the xerophiles? The Atacama Desert is home to the driest climate on Earth. Some parts of it have never received rain since the beginning of recording. The hyper-aridity of the desert is due to several factors, but despite the harsh conditions that the Atacama holds, there are plenty of life forms living among the rocks and sand dunes. The average rainfall per year is less than 0.01 centimeters. The Atacama Desert is located in South America. It lies in the countries Peru and Chile, and covers more than 600 miles in length of hyper-arid land. The key features around this land include the Andes Mountains to the east and the Cordillera Mountains to the west. This is a key feature. Being surrounded by mountains contributes to the Atacama Desert's harsh climate. The Atacama Desert has preserved its soil in hyper-arid climate since the uplift of the Central Andes about 10 million years ago. The key reason is due to a phenomenon called rain shadow. This phenomenon can occur because of the two mountains surrounding it. Rain shadow is a patch of land that is forced to becoming a desert due to the mountain ranges preventing water inside the land. Rain shadow works based on the principle that air cools and condenses as it rises. The air rises and follows the winds, in this case the westerlies and the trade winds, and condenses into precipitation. The precipitation falls on one side of the mountain. The other side is warmer and drier with no precipitation, and the cloud dries out. This is more severe in the Atacama, since the Atacama Desert is surrounded from the east and west. Another factor is the high air pressure of the Atacama Desert. This means that the warm air will descend and the cold air will be on top. The warm air can't hold rain and it turns into water vapor. One final reason for the Atacama Desert's dryness is the ocean current of the Pacific Ocean. The Humboldt current chills all onshore winds so that moisture cannot be picked up, and therefore no rain can fall on the desert. This causes the soil to become very brittle and almost devoid of organic matter. There are no substantial gradients in the Atacama Desert except for the precipitation gradient, which stays in an arid state nearly all of the time. The Atacama Desert is known to be the bare minimum in terms of water for life to survive. However, there are exceptions. Very rarely, a storm does hit, causing flash floods and torrents of water. This is because the desert doesn't absorb water, leading to mass erosion and flooding. This occurred on March 24, 2015. Other than very rare floods, the desert receives just about no change for years. Even though scientists have discovered life in the Atacama, it is still extremely scarce, due in large to one reason, which is also the defining characteristic of the Atacama Desert. The aridity of the desert has turned the Atacama into a sort of planet itself. It has been linked to the soil on Mars and is very similar to the Martian landscape. The Atacama Desert's geology can help us to understand what it's like on other planets and help us to know the basic limit for life.